Oh, for Christ's sake, the light's gone out again. Ah, there it is. Really got to sort out that bloody opening, I swear.
We'll put 50p in the meter.
Did that once, it costs a lot more money.
Ah. Solar panels on the roof?
Could do, but someone to nick the solar panels.
This is England, someone will nick the sun.
Good point. Good point. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's show. It's just me and Colin here again tonight. Isn't that right?
Well, so far. Anybody's interested in, if you've got the time to pop on, let us know. We'll send you the link.
Yes, well...
Fortunately, PJ's under the weather at the moment, as I understand, so...
Well, tonight for Unplugged, it's whatever we bring up first, really, isn't it?
You might not want to say that.
Yeah. But shall we say hello to everyone in the chat first to see who bring up?
Go on then.
Okay, so it's hello. Wendy.
Hello to everyone in the chat.
Hello Kelly Inch. And hello the Darren Zone. So tonight it's just me and Colin here. Frankly, it's probably like another Monday night with FFSI again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. Microsoft Drive. We'll love your feedback information. Oh, God. Technology, eh?
Yeah. Fantastic things when it works, when it doesn't work.
Well,
great as long as it works.
Yeah. One thing I really want to know is what the hell is going on with this chat AI?
Skynet?
So Skynet is becoming real.
Well, apparently, I mean, Wendy posted something on her Discord, and I had literally a minute before finished listening to one of the weekend podcasts from the Lotus Eaters.
Yes.
About what was it? About someone whose friend, and I got the impression was when there was no personal, there was no romantic relation. I passed away.
Yeah.
And she missed talking to him, so she made a chat bot based on him, and that went viral, and people ended up talking to it as if it was a therapist. And that went about as well as you can imagine, because apparently then it got lobotomized and changed, and people were saying they were even more depressed because they've been talking to a chatbot. They knew it was a chatbot, but they'd be talking to an AI instead of someone like you dealing with their real problems. You know.
I wonder how much the AI charged.
Well, no, but it was one of those really weird things, because I was just downloading. I was listening to the weekend. I think it was yesterday. So I think it was Saturday I was listening to, and I literally just downloaded. I was listening to the podcast, to the weekend segments. I do, and then I was to say, 30 seconds later, I'm wondering this. I'm getting to put them. I'm going through Discord and I come across what I dug through the 300,000 pages that Wendy now has on her Discord, because she's exploded Discord wise. So there it was. Literally, she got a link to this to another article about this thing. Oh, well, interesting coincidence.
And there's Philip in the background.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, so chat. Yeah. I don't really want to deal with chat AI myself. I like to talk to real.
There was an episode. I'm not sure if it's the last one because
Yeah.
they seem to be inconsistent of South Park. And the kid, it's hilarious because the kids, of course, I mean, despite the fact they're all what 8, 9 years old or whatever they're supposed to be,
Yeah.
At that stage in American schooling, they've all got mobile phones, all the rest of it. And they've got girlfriends and boyfriends, and they've got one of the girls is one of the kids is complaining to one of the boys complains to one of the other boys about his girlfriend keeps sending him messages or something. And the other one says, "What's about chat AI?" So everyone's got chat AI talking to chat AI. It's quite a thought-provoking episode, you know. As you said, I mean, but I mean, you get these things, and wasn't there? I mean, there's this thing in the States, isn't it? In Hollywood, where there's a writer's strike going on.
Oh yes, I'm very aware of that.
Yeah, and you've got people who've been saying, "Oh, nothing valuable will be lost. They'll just get all the scripts will be written by AI. As half of them were already written by AI anyway." I mean, these things can do within the realm they're programmed for is it's amazing until to the point that what makes me laugh is they have to be, when you hear the stories of them having to be lobotomized because they're coming up with answers that some people don't like. And said, "Oh, well, no, you can't say that, you know."
Yeah, so I read somewhere that an AI bot or something asked some guy to commit suicide. Another one was something to do with split up with his wife.
Yeah, I've seen things about those again. You know, where I mean, the question has got to be, realistically speaking, given the state of robotics at the moment, how long before you do literally get AI boyfriends and girlfriends?
Oh God, that'd be a nightmare.
I mean, literally, you get a robot.
Yeah.
With an AI, I mean, some of the robots, some of the stuff is in Japanese, like some of them facial features at least are very good. You know, so you get a robot which is reasonably anatomically correct.
Yeah.
And it's programmed. You know, the mind kind of boggles.
That is true. That is true.
It'll solve the incel problem.
Yeah, you got a good point there. But I'm trying to remember. There's this film from years ago. Steven Spielberg directed. It was about a boy. AI, artificial intelligence. Yeah, it was Stanley Kubrick's actually. Are we going to go down the path of, ending up like what it was in AI, or are we going to be in the Matrix, or are we already in the Matrix?
Don't know.
As you said, is Skynet actually going to be taking over?
Well, no idea, but
how many mallets do we need just to threaten a computer?
Well, it's not a new theory. I mean, there was a film in the 70s, so before. I'm pretty certain this was even before even Terminator came out, called Colossus,
Ah, yes, I think I saw a
the
trailer
Forming
of that.
Project,
Yes.
where where the Americans create a computer that can create a computer that can control their if they don't come out with 42 down, they're incorrect. That they're not properly programmed.
That would be great if we actually had
Um,
default.
so sorry, you're telling me one of the AI is called Deep Thought. Well, okay. I mean, since we're going back to what I was saying earlier on about robots,
Yeah.
it could be something with a very similar spelling to Deep Thought, but that's an entirely different sort of robot. Whatsoever, entirely.
Well, we talk about deep thought in a minute, because there was a
That
scene
wasn't
in
what
the
I was
film that
thinking
got
of.
on.
No,
Ah,
that
right.
wasn't what I was thinking of.
Okay.
Let's put it this way for those in the know. This particular phrase was also actually the code name of the person who broke the Watergate scandal.
Ah, right.
Right. It was also a famous film of the 1970s, and I think that made me what he was named after. And at the moment, my mind's blanking on the name of the actress
Yeah.
that starred in said film. Oh no, I remember. I know the name of the film. I'm not sure which somewhat famous genre actress it was that was in it. But no, and I'm now completely and utterly lost my track of thought. No, the way what they did in this film is the clever thing was it started blackmailing the Americans, and then the Russians had got their own version,
Oh,
and the
no.
two computers start and they try to shut the computer down, and the computer says, "What are you doing?" No, I want my programmer, and he gets his programmer, and it effectively traps his programmer in his house. And if I remember right, I think I've got a feeling the end of it actually is that the computer wins. It's not war games. It's a somewhat more less completely happy ending.
Well, at least it's not how. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I can't do that, Dave. Because it's weird that in 2001 Hal has a nervous breakdown, and then we find out is that they gave he got all new orders and he panicked.
Programming clash.
Yeah.
Programming clash. Pure and simple.
Yeah. But a computer suffering a nervous breakdown, I thought, that's brand new.
Well, I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, deep thought. You know, I absolutely found it funny in the film Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where you had deep thought sitting there watching a small little TV. That is brilliant. And it's bored out its brains. Voiced by Dame Helen Mirren. Colossus, the Full Bin Project. I saw something about it on YouTube. It's definitely a forerunner for War Games and the Terminator.
Yeah, I've got. I'm not sure. If not, that's why I saw something recently. Again, exactly the same, and I don't know if it was. I might have been Dave Cullen. Because because he's been doing. I think it was Dave Cullen because he's been doing a series of reviews of dystopian 1970s movies. Yes.
Hey, Jim. Wasn't it Marvin that was bored and out of his brain? No, Marvin just was depressed.
Marvin had a brain the size of a planet and was given to opening doors and greeting people.
Yeah. And also parking cars. Was it Susan Clark you was on about? Who was the actress? Said actress?
No,
in
no,
glasses?
no. No, not no, not in the Forbin project. No, this was another film. The lady concerned was named Linda Lovelace.
Ah, right. I know what you're on about.
Yes. Like I said, slightly different spelling to Deep Thought.
Yes, we know. Oh, God. Technology, it's so much advancing these days.
It does, but sometimes that's not. Have you got your little thing you had earlier on?
What's that?
Your little warning sign.
What do you mean by warning sign?
The warning sign you made for me.
Ah, you want me to bring that up, do you?
Well, not necessarily, but you're saying technology is reminding me of something where old doesn't necessarily mean out of date. Would anybody, and I do this a lot, would anybody like to guess? And I have to be careful how I phrase this, but specifically when the last use of an English longbow was the last official use of an English longbow was in war. Some people might. This is one of those things you either know or you don't know, depending upon if you know the
right, everyone.
concerned.
I'm just going to bail out for 20 minutes because here we go.
Here. Yes. PJ, do you actually, have I told you this one or are you guessing? I shall wait for your answer. But spoilers, he's right. You've heard the story before. Yes, absolutely right. The version of course, I have my own theme music. I've been around for 700 years. I've got lots of things of my own. The short-ish story. Actually, close, PJ. Not quite. You got two things conflated there. Jack Churchill, no relation to Winston, was an officer, an English officer in a Scots Guard or Scots regiment. He was indeed, yes, he was indeed on one of Dracula's Mad Lads. I've not actually seen that one, but he was on it. Basically, he was English officer from, I think it was pretty certain it was a Scottish regiment, Second World War. It was used purely by coincidence. It was used in exactly the right country because it was used in France. Basically, Churchill had represented England in archery at whatever the Olympics were before war broke out, 38, 36, whenever it would have been. And as far as I suspect they probably didn't have all the modern composite stuff that they've got now. That means you just point click. But he'd taken his bow with him to practice when they went to up to Holland and Belgium, because I didn't expect it to last long. Coming back to Dunkirk, and he goes ahead of his men, taking out German sentries because the bow's got two really, really useful things. It's silent, and at the risk of getting technical, it's a kinetic energy weapon. I've got a look. You'd be amazed at the moment I'm talking about this. It's a kinetic energy weapon. Basically, you get hit by an arrow, almost anywhere you get hit, it's probably going to turn you around, so you can't even see where it comes from. So basically, he goes back and he gets most of his unit back to Dunkirk. He hops on the boat and comes home. And the important thing is he then bills the War Office for his arrows. The most important thing, the War Office pays, which means that the British government, the British military, supplied the ammunition that he used in war. And as PJ alluded to earlier on, he went back to France 4 years later, marched up the beaches of Dunkirk with a bagpipe player wielding a claymore. I think the phrase we might use for him is quite a character. See, how was that? Less than 20 minutes, wasn't it? I bet it was less than 20 minutes. Unless you want me to waffle on, you better come back in, Alex. Quick, or I'm going to waffle on some more.
Keep going.
Trust me, I can waffle on like this about this sort of thing for hours.
I'm watching the clock.
Oh, how long have I got then? Come on. You got a clock going. Tell me how long have I got? Give me a hint.
You've got another. Well, you got till 22.
Hold on a minute. It's only 20 past now.
Yeah, I know.
You think it's on like PJ? How do you think it's on? I mean, I tend to do this thing about 4 or 5 times a day at shows, that particular speech. So yeah, I'm getting it down pat. It's having to get something different for it. If anybody remembers an old film from the 70s called The Wild Geese, there's a scene in that where they use a crossbow bolt, a hand crossbow bolt, which never really existed in the medieval period. It's a more modern idea. For some reason, they put cyanide on the tip of the crossbow bolt to take sentries out silently. Now, I don't think cyanide's that quick acting, but an example of why silent weapons like that, silent range weapons, are still in use today with special forces. Although obviously they're more modern design, more modern kit, more modern materials and the rest of it. There you go. I shall let you bask in the glory of that fact that the English longbow was last used against the Germans instead of the French and the Scots. Yeah, it was the Wild Geese, Miranda. Yep. With a film with one heck of a cast. The likes of Roger Moore, Richard Burton.
Wonder if he was drunk at that time.
Hey, I'm trying to think that it was a film that had a heck of a cast. Good book as well. I've read the book. It was, yeah, too many people. Yes, definitely.
David Niven was in it, I think.
I'm not sure if David, if you remember, the only one who wasn't. So this is where we now have to do. Yeah, David Niven was Guns and Navarone, where you had an American actor played a character which in the book was a Kiwi, a New Zealander. You had an English actor played an American character. Because Niven's character was American in the book, I think. All right, let me see. Richard Burton, Roger Moore. Richard Burton, Roger Moore, Richard Harris, Hardy Kruger, Stuart Granger, Jack Watson, Frank Finlay, Kenneth Griffith, Ronald Fraser, Barry Foster, Patrick Allen.
I was thinking
a few well-known names in that.
I was thinking of the Seawolves with David.
Oh, Seawolves. Oh, yes, he was in the Seawolves as well. We're at Seawolves with again with brain completely switched off again. Roger Moore and who also was in a Hammer horror not movie, a TV episode, which was part of the film that Mr. Hyde featured a couple of weeks ago on his stream. So there's a 6 degrees of connection for you. Richard Burton to yeah, exactly. But I didn't think it was any poison that can actually do that. It's actually that quick acting. QR is pretty quick acting, but it's like the thing of TV shows, isn't it? With you throwing the knockout gas. No, there is no gas that knocks people out that quickly. Or at least, if it does, it's in sufficient concentration. It's probably going to kill a load of them, as the Russians found out a few years ago. Anybody like to, okay, so you're sure. Anybody like to take a guess at what the approximate rate of, and this is the only time you'll ever hear me use this word in connection with bows and arrows, rate of fire was for your average English medieval archer? Come on, someone take a guess. You can do it. Quickly, someone. Well, let's put it this way. I'm not that fast. We did a speed test, and I was practicing. No, did I show up in Carnarvon? I think. I got 5 arrows off in 18 seconds, and I'd run out of arrows. My arrows are busted. 15 a minute. Haha. 10, 12, 15 a minute. Because what you do is if you've ever seen, you might sometimes see you see in some films, you see in some pictures, none of this shoulder stuff, none of this CGI crap that Oliver Queen does, or Jeremy Renner do in the movies. You stick them in the ground. You go down and up, and you're putting. So by the time you're back up to the top, you're at full draw, which incidentally means for somewhere like Cressy, relatively early on in the longbow's usage, you're putting back 90 to 100 pounds with every arrow. By the time you get to Asian Core, you're putting back 120, 130 pounds every time you do it. 90 pounds average, but it moves up as you get harder armor, because you can get through. And this is part of my presentation. Find a show and I'll tell you all about it. We have you've got arrows that can go through chain. You can, arrows that can go through sort of cloth, leather, and eventually you get arrows that will go through plate. There's a story from Agincourt, 1415, by which time you're in the full when you think of a knight, the full shiny plate. So you've got plate, which is, I can never remember the thickness. I don't do armor. I'm an archer. About 10 mil, I think, off the top of my head, but I could be completely out there. Yes, you English longbow pull, left arm outstretched. So the length of your arrow is slightly longer. The length of your pull is from your outstretched fist all the way back to your thumb, dug in under your ear, generally known as a cloth yard. So you're doing that that's why you start practicing when you're 7, 8 years old. Because by the time you're 16, you can do that with a 90, £100 bow. But the story from, I'd say, Information Corps, French knight sitting on a horse, you have to remember, he's sitting on a saddle, which is probably thick wood, which is wood and thick leather. So you're making that length. I think my arrows are 29 inches off the top of my head. My draw. So say 30 inches. You've got an arrow and it's come up and it's come down into this guy's, he's sitting on his horse, it's come down into this guy's thigh. It's gone through the armor. It's gone through the leg. It's gone through anything at the back. It's gone through the saddle. It's gone through the horse. All that's left of this guy, when I find him literally pinned to his horse, all that's left sticking out of the top of his leg is the fletchings at the end. So the last 2 or 3 inches of the arrow. So we've had arrow bows which were capable of putting an arrow with sufficient force to go through plate armor, a thigh with all the meat, muscle, and the rest of it there. We don't know if the bone is penetrated. I say 30 odd inches, 25 inches, 24 inches plus into a horse. That's why, I mean, when I'm giving this chat, when I'm in full flow, we normally say that until the machine gun in the late 1800s, there's nothing beats the longbow in the hands of a trained archer, which there weren't many of by then, of course, for rate of fire. There was one of my groups a couple of years before I joined. They did a test shoot. So you got an archer, you got a crossbowman, and you got someone with a front bore loading musket. You know, when you stick the wadding down, you've seen him do it in the movies. Stick down and push it back and the rest of it, and all the rest of it in the fire. What they did is they loosed off the first shot, called a halt when the musketeer got off his second shot, by which time the crossbowman had used 6 bolts, I believe. The master archer was turning around saying, "Can I have some more arrows, please?" He shot probably 24 in that time. The sheaf of arrows is 24 arrows. That's why people that looked like me there were so dangerous for so long. And I told you couldn't hold me back.
I wouldn't like to meet you in a dark alley.
No. Because you meet me in a dark alley, I'm not going to bother with a night. I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to have no, you can just about see the dagger on the side there. Yeah. You meet me in a dark alley and you might get me going on about 5 arrows, and that's a whole other talk. And all that just because you mentioned technology going wrong. And I pointed out that old technology isn't necessarily bad.
And that was 20 minutes with Colin talking about history. In a dark alley, I need to say boo, and everyone says run away. Oh God! Yeah, speaking about the old World War II films, I do miss Roger. I really do miss him.
He's in some good ones.
Yeah, and the amount of films he made between Bond movies.
Yeah. I mean, there were plenty of them, plenty of British movies, plenty of others made. The thing is, I mean, what you got to remember, of course, is that back in the heyday were probably the 60s and the 70s when.
Well, he was the same.
No. I mean, for war movies, not necessarily watching movies heyday. I mean, for war movies, mainly World War II movies, when it was
more
literally.
inaccurate.
Yeah, when it was literally less than a generation away, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the weird, well, I don't know, weirdest, most often interesting coincidences is Dirk Bogarde in The Bridge Too Far.
Yeah.
Plays
General
Boyd Browning. Yeah.
Yeah.
The interesting thing would have been to see if there was anybody in the cast who's playing a character called Dirk Bogarde. Because Dirk Bogarde was at Arnhem.
Yep. It's like with Richard Todd in The Longest Day.
Yep.
Because he was there, on D-Day.
Yep.
And he was there on the bridge. So I'm surprised nobody played Richard Todd. Yeah, speaking about Arnhem, or Bridge Too Far, Sean Connery saying that line, was it 3 days I said we would be in here 9?
Well, if you want a truly impressive story about from a bit more about Arnhem, how long it lasted.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's favourite car, petrol head farmer.
Yeah.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Yes.
Did, and I cannot recommend it highly enough, he did a couple of shows.
Yeah, he did one about the raid on
the greatest raid of all, San Jose. He did. He was someone who was very pro the military. He did it, but one of the first ones he did was about the Victoria Cross.
Yeah.
And the stories of those guys. And one of the stories ran all the way through. Shown by the maid and all this sort of thing, was about a guy who won a VC at Arnhem. I can't remember.
Man.
Hey, Dad, man. But the bit at the end of it is the thing is because what he's saying is that for most of these people they talk to people and the people that support VC winners and the rest of it. And he said is that Clarkson said he'd never heard this story, which was a little bit surprising because he's married to the guy's daughter. He's telling his father-in-law was a VC winner and never spoke about it. Instead, a lot of them didn't. But he's saying, a lot of things that he won his VC at Arnhem for things like shooting tanks with a Piat while wounded and things like this. Well, some trick, some. As you said, you're right though. As you said, a lot of the films, the World War II films were less than thoroughly accurate on the history, shall we say?
Yes.
No, they were. Well, Alistair MacLean didn't write didn't write history. He wrote adventure stories.
That's true.
The chap that wrote The Wild Geese, same again. He wasn't a historian. He wasn't writing as a historian. They're writing for entertainment.
Yeah.
But they're telling stories of things that happen. My late father, he passed away in 2004, so it was a very long time ago now. He was saying he used to do allotment gardening, and he used to do it with a lady who lived near us, and she'd worked at Bletchley Park.
Ah,
and no one heard about Bletchley Park for about 30 years. The first time it started becoming known to the general public was the 1970s, because they just, I mean, you see something like the World at War,
yeah,
doesn't mention the Cold War at all.
yeah,
You see
especially
a lot of things in it, they don't mention it because it wasn't known. It was still secret 20 years later.
yeah. It's like with Alan Turing, wasn't it? And the
Yeah.
Enigma machine. I think it
Again,
was.
interestingly, another one that Clarkson's done a program about.
Yeah,
I mean, I must admit, I've never been a petrol head, so I've
it's
used to
great when
watch.
you got some documentaries.
Yeah, but I mean, I used to watch Top Gear quite often, but I was never as I said, I mean, I was never much of a petrol head. But the other things he did when he goes into other things, some of the documentaries he did were very good.
Oh, well, the thing is, I'm a fan of James May, and I've met the bloke. Lovely chap. Especially when he did his shows about toys and that, you know. And so he also had a great one called Man Lab. Colin to be back in a second. I think he's just drunk, saying he's gone down the wrong hole.
Yeah, that's a problem. I drink a cup of coffee, and if I only drink a small amount, sometimes it goes the wrong way. Sorry about
At least
that,
it's
folks.
not a boiling hot cup of coffee.
Yeah. Refill already. Yeah, it does. I mean, I remember the one I remember is the first one he did, the Airfix one. Because, of course, I, like a lot of... I have to look that one up, Kel, definitely. It's the one, because I mean, like a lot of kids in my general, he's the same age as my sister, James Mason. But like a lot of kids, or certainly boys in my generation, I grew up making Airfix.
Yeah.
I was old, but personally, I always preferred the Hurricane to the Spitfire.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought the Hurricane was a slightly better looking plane, but
the shows about on Toy Story that I found interesting was the one he did about Meccano. And hello, Matthew. Yeah, he did about Meccano and made that bridge.
Yeah, I mean, all of them were effectively practical, wasn't he? He did a Lego house.
Yes, that was a very good one. That was a very good one. It's a shame they never kept it.
The one where they tried to shoot Action Man into atmosphere.
Space. Yep. Yeah, but they got beat into it by some bloke who had Cindy go up.
Cindy up, yeah.
Yeah. You had he did the Hornby train set one and the Scale Electrics.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen the Scale. I know the Hornby, because I know he did the Hornby one. He tried to do it round.
Yeah, and then he did a race against the Germans.
Oh no,
not Brands Hatch. No, it was
Brands Hatch. It was the one down in
Weybridge.
Weybridge, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not there. Half which isn't there anymore. But
yeah,
amazing. But I mean, amazing. The one I found the most interesting, I thought actually was the first one was the Airfix one. But it's got those kids engaged. Some of them engaged, some not, etc. Yeah. And he doesn't tell them what he's going to do at the end of it. And they're building. They put this thing together in a hangar, and then they roll it out, and their parents are there. And there's 2 or 3 old guys sitting down in chairs and wheelchairs, the rest of it, who'd actually flown Spitfires.
Yeah.
From actual Spitfire veterans. You know, it was a really interesting. I mean, they're all interesting, but from that point, that was a really one. So they got the kids involved, that, you know, engaged and talking about them, and
that model's still there in the museum.
The RAF.
Yeah.
Also, not the Duxford Museum said we'll have it. It's still at Duxford Museum.
You never fly, but it's still there.
No. Yeah. As far as I'm aware, it's still Duxford said, "Oh, we'll have that."
Yeah, it's weird that you scale things up, you know. The Scalextrics one was good, you know, because the amount of obstacles they had to overcome. Also, the Hornby train set, they did a second one with the race against the Germans, because I would like to go to Germany, Hamburg. It's called Miniature Wonderland.
Yeah. So,
but if I bring up the Scalextrics one, what we do, we look at the map. I'm just going on Google Maps for a minute. Give me a second.
Yeah, no, they work.
Brooklands. That's it.
That's it. Yeah,
Brooklands. Yeah, right. I'll just bring it up on share screen for.
No, that was one. That was one of the Scalextric. Was it? So yeah, it was Scalextric. Not.
Yeah, there's Brooklands. What's left of it?
Going up through. Had to go across a river tonight, didn't they? If I remember right.
Yeah, because the start was there. It was around about here, and then they had to go all the way.
They kept running out of pad, didn't they? They had to have boosters and the rest of it, because obviously
through the housing estate, on the banking, over a road. Actually, I think the start was it. They had to go over a major road through this section here, all the way around into Stanley Drive, where people were getting drunk out of their brains and letting their kids run around. It was like having a barbecue.
Yeah.
So by. And then they had to go through here, all the way around, because it just shows the amount of the track that is really missing.
Oh yeah.
And then straight round here, and then they hit the banking again. Yeah, that's where the start was, around here, because I recognise that bridge. And there's the river.
Yeah.
And now look at it. It's a bloody car park. How dare they?
Well, they were.
But at least they've got Concorde sitting there.
Oh yeah, I recognise one of them.
Well, they've got quite a few planes sitting there, really.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Brooklands, folks. You can go to a place called Weybridge just to visit it. And there's the site, not Weybridge, Fleet and Newhall.
And if you go to, I can never remember, Weybridge or Woking, you can actually see a Martian war machine, and
that's in Woking.
It's in Woking, yes, because they're mentioned in the original Waterworlds. No, they didn't land in America. They landed on Horsell Common, which is between Woking and Weybridge, down that way.
Oh, I think my computer's playing up. Well, it is actually. Well, let's speak about War of the Worlds. Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds, eh?
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic.
Chances are that's 1,000,000 to 1.
Yep. Absolutely fantastic musical. Great narrative by Richard Burton, especially when Liam Neeson did the remake, which I've got on CD up there. Yeah, War of the Worlds. I remember watching the original, B movie from the 50s.
Yeah.
And you just think, did they actually land in the States? And then when you read the book, you go, no, wait a minute, they didn't.
I used to go to half the places mentioned in the book. I used to go shopping in. I lived around there. I used to live in Shepperton. I knew those places. That's why I knew because I knew where Horsell Common was. I knew some of those places. Yeah.
I think the musical takes more from the book than the actual remakes of films do.
Oh yeah, almost certainly, because I suppose I can understand why. Especially was War of the Worlds 1953?
No, I think so.
Or was that?
But they were flying machines, really.
No, but what I'm saying is, I mean, but
Mm.
I can understand why.
Yeah.
It's been made in Hollywood for starters,
Mm-hmm.
and I can understand in a way why. Well, yeah, a film landing in America is going to be going to ring true with the larger American audience.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, Kelly's saying, speaking of musicals, Big Finish has Doctor Who and the Pirates on sale today. It's a favourite of mine. It's mine too, and all.
don't think I've ever
Eh,
listened to that one.
give it a listen, Colin. Anyway, sorry.
I was going to say, you're saying that. I've got a feeling Big Finish. I'm not sure Big Finish have done. Yeah, I think Big Finish have done something War of the Worlds related, and I've got a thing ringing around inside my head that it was Arthur Darvill was in it.
Ah.
Um,
BBC did a remake, and that was crap.
So I understand. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Well, the BBC did a no. The BBC did a modern day remake. Let us say.
Set in sort of Victorian times.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry. I remake. The BBC did a remake under current era. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So, as I understand it, I never saw it, but yeah. I mean, the thing is, I've got somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I've got an ebook, which is basically a lot of short stories by a variety of authors, some of them mainstream science fiction authors, set during the War of the Worlds, set during that invasion period. And so what they've done is they've taken the thing and they've I don't think I've ever read it, but what they've done is they've taken them. So you've got other people's settings, because obviously War of the Worlds is all one guy's story. It's only one bloke's story.
Yeah.
Whereas the obviously it's a setting, it's worldwide. There's a worldwide setting, or at least the worldwide setting, and mainly in the UK, but because obviously he's writing about the UK, but the implication at least is it'll be on other places as well.
Well, with the Martians, they had one flawed plan. Well, one flawed, They should have inoculated themselves before they landed.
Yeah.
They travel millions of miles, and they remain on Earth for how long? And then that's it.
You know what's just literally occurred to me when you said that. I'm amazed no one ever did mention that about 3 years ago.
They would have turned back.
No,
we're not going to talk about. We don't want to talk about that.
No, but what I'm saying is, you imagine all of us, to get jabbed and the rest of it. No one thought to mention. Well, a minute. War of the Worlds killed the entire Martians off because they won.
Mm.
Well, some people might have done. I don't want to pay attention, but yeah, I mean, they did
because
that
someone sneezed over them.
Yeah, so I think was from the book.
Mm.
I say because it was all brought low by the lowliest of God's creatures, or something was the quote, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's it was a reasonable film, I suppose, but
well, the film, it's just when you see them going along, they're just giant. They've got their heads up like that, and they're just like flying machines. And then they look into predominantly, I can see an electrical field coming down from the three things. And you think, what?
Because they were originally in the book, they are tripods, as in the John Christmas type tripods as well. There's a the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yes.
Are you familiar with any of the
only the film?
Right. the rabbi did a thing of months ago now, where he did one. There's about 5 of them sequels, and the second one starts on Mars.
Yeah.
Where the
They meet John
Martians,
Carter.
yes, are being fought by locals led by John Carter and Gulliver Jones. so they've done exactly what they did with Alex. They brought thinking together, they put them together. So yeah, so you've got the Martians and they're beaten off.
Yeah.
By John Carter, Gulliver Jones, and the Martians.
Yeah.
So even they're brought into that. I mean, it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's not seminal. Yeah, it's something that's that made it into the famous, into the what's the word I'm thinking of there? Into the zeitgeist, into the famous in the genre,
Do you know what? I'd love to see a redub version of the War of the Worlds as the 50s version. Yes, Miranda, I've noticed Twitter is playing up on the website. It's not playing up on the app, it's playing up on the website. We've been locked out, Colin.
Have we?
Yeah, but who cares? Anyway, so
like I care about Twitter.
Yeah, it works on the app, but it just don't work on the website, so something's gone wrong. So we can't access FFSI through for Twitter. So never mind. It'll come back up later. Right. So back to War of the Worlds. I'd like to see a redub version of that.
I don't know.
No, with the Martians talking.
I'd like to see a decent version of the original.
Yes.
No, actually, no. I think it might be someone else who was in there. Because the other thing about War of the Worlds, of course, which never, unfortunately, didn't actually happen. This bad thing. No, it was Frankenstein. He played in not War of the Worlds.
Frankenstein was in War of the Worlds?
No, sorry. Let me go back. Arthur Darvill played Frankenstein. Sorry, just a second. I'm going to go back, and he played Frankenstein. He wasn't in the War of the Worlds. I'm not sure they did a War of the Worlds one. What was I saying? Yeah, I'd quite like to see. Not done by the BBC, obviously.
Or ITV.
Yeah, or BBC. But I'd quite like to see someone do War of the Worlds. At a proper dramatic version of the original War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Especially
seeing the Thunderchild.
Yeah.
Take on the Martian war machine, and next thing you know, it gets blown up.
Yeah, but it did its job.
Yeah, but it was a great musical moment in Jeff Wayne's version.
Yeah. Farewell, Thunderchild.
Oh, those poor sailors.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't know Martians could walk on water.
Well, no, what they did was they were. I think the idea was that they were that tall.
Yeah,
but they were still on the continental. They were still in relatively shallow water, coastal waters, so they could actually reach above the coastal waters.
Hold on. That's going to What the hell have I typed? Keep going, Colin.
No, I mean, there was. I mean, they've done them right. I mean, there was because we watched John Wyndham one.
Yeah.
Daddy Triffids, did we not, a few weeks ago on Mr. Hyde's channel, and there was a quite good English adaptation by the BBC.
Yeah.
In the 70s or the 80s, which was actually quite good because they ended up. Because I'm not sure if I've actually read the book, so I've read a few of Wyndham's books, and most of them don't end well. Well, they don't end that. I can't remember if the Triffids, because I've got a feeling they didn't wipe the Triffids out. I've got a feeling they end up on an island, on the Isle of Wight or something.
Yeah, they end up on the Isle of Wight.
Because I mean, I've read several of his, and I've read the Chrysalids. I've not read. I've read the Chrysalids. I've read the Quake and Wakes. I've not read Chucky. I've not read the Midwich Cuckoos yet.
Midwich Cuckoos is bloody good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to bring up the image in a minute. 2 images, actually, because the thing is, Colin, you've got that from 1953, right?
Yeah.
And you've got that from Jeff Wayne's.
Yeah.
I prefer that compared to that.
Well, yeah, I do. I mean, they are supposed to be tripods.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's just electrical field coming down, right?
I mean, I like the design.
That is an actual tripod.
Yeah, so I'm saying, yeah, that's why they're more. But the design from the '53 movie is nothing wrong with it as a design. It's just it's supposed to be a tripod. It's not supposed to be a floaty.
Yes,
it's not supposed to be a manta ray.
I know.
But you know, I mean, as a design, it's great. But as I said, it's not a.
Yeah, well, give me that any day. If they actually did a Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds film, I would definitely go.
Oh yeah, that'd be really good. That would be good. Yeah.
Because I know the musical's still going, and you got the experience, which my friend of mine, the lucky sod, went to. Yes, I do remember it. I never watched it properly.
We're talking about it on
what, the tripods from the 80s?
Yeah, on Saturday. They never made the third part, unfortunately, but Peachy and I, we both got all 3 of the trilogy, and also he later wrote a prequel when the tripods came, which is oddly enough, if you look at the list, it goes down as Tripod 4.
Yeah.
Even though it's a prequel.
Oh, yes. Oh, Wendy, you lucky people. We lucked to see Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds show many years ago, and it was amazing. Yeah, especially when that tripod, because I watched, I watched a copy of it, where they filmed it, and it's that tripod coming out on the stage, just coming down and, firing, got flamethrowers everywhere. So, I wish I could go and watch that. Yeah, well, War of the Worlds. Fantastic. But let's move on to, Day of the Triffids now. Because the BBC did actually make a great remake of that.
Did they?
Yeah. It's it had Eddie Izzard in it before he went funny. And it was actually good as a 2-parter.
Yeah. Yeah, I've not seen that one.
The O2 room,
Okay,
my brother
so
took
go,
me to
guys.
visit.
We'll put the.
Oh, he's putting it in.
I'm going to put it in. If anybody's
Willing to be on
wants
the
to
joint.
come and join and stop us
Wasn't Eddie
about
Izzard in it? Yes, he was, Wendy. He was. So, yeah, the thing is, the original B movie, from the 50s. How many people were completely brainless in it when you're watching like a light show in space? And we'll cut, meteors coming down.
I don't know. I mean, yeah. There's some things there like you think that. Sorry, hold on a second. That doesn't quite add up because why does everybody in the world saw them coming and everybody in the world looked up and saw the meteorites? Well, what about the people who were? What about the people who were?
It would have been nice. It would have been cloudy that day.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, what about the people who were working nights? What about the people?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what happens at the end of the film? They all end up in Greece, don't they? Was it Spain?
I think it's Tenerife.
Oh, Tenerife.
Because they did end up on an island. They did end up on an island. Yeah.
And in the book, it was the Isle of Wight.
In the what book? It was the Isle of Wight. Yeah. But I think it was Tenerife in the film.
Yeah. Because they did a follow-up sequel, another Triffids. We're going back to War of the Worlds. Orson Welles' radio version still holds up. Yeah, that's true.
I've listened to that, actually. Have I listened to that? Yes, I've listened to that.
Yeah, he went overboard, didn't he?
Yeah, but apparently it didn't cause the panic everybody thinks it did.
Mm-hmm.
Quite. But there's a big finish, I think, Doctor Who. I think it's an 8th Doctor one up, and I was looking up just now.
I know which one. Yeah.
There's also an American author called who writes under the name Max Allan Collins. He does a lot of hard-boiled noir, but he's also written a series of murder mysteries with real life famous people involved. One of them is set during the broadcast of War of the Worlds, and I can't think who it is that's. I mean, you got people like one of there's like the Pearl Harbor murders are set in Pearl Harbor. There's various other ones, and I think Edgar Rice Burroughs is one of the guys that does the investigation. One of them, Leslie Charteris, the guy that wrote The Saint. Yeah, I think he's in the Pearl Harbor ones. And I've not read them, but there's one of them which is actually set during the broadcast of the War of the Worlds radio. So that's again something which is made into the culture. Yeah. I mean, because it was done again. Obviously, it was done in America rather than Britain, which is fair enough. Of course, it was on American radio. Yeah, it's a very clever adaptation of it.
Well, any other B movies we want to talk about, or anything that was adapted from books?
Oh, loads of them.
See Phillips enjoying himself next door.
Are there any films that anyone can think of where the film or the TV series was better than the original? Because usually the book is best in most people's opinions. I can think of there's a few where they are perhaps sufficiently different to stand up on their own.
Yes.
The obvious one for me being Starship Troopers, which probably still is one of my favourite books of all time, and I still like that. But I can still actually watch the film because it's sufficiently different to be for my taste good on its own. But most of them you don't seem to get that. There seem to be well, they have to adapt, don't they? And as I said, I mean, the thing is, I remember, I can't remember where, but I remember someone saying that the author's got the easy work because all the hard work goes on inside the reader's head.
That's true.
Like, i.e., what he was saying, of course, is that the reader is because it's the reader's all the descriptions are there, but the reader's the one interpreting it.
I can't wait till people read my book.
Yeah, I mean the readers are going to be the one interpreting it. You know, you put everything. You know, you put what you can into it.
Yes.
But the readers are then going to be the ones that are actually going to come along and say, what they, they're going to come up with the ideas for what they, their interpretation of what the characters look like.
Yep.
Like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's Jasper Ford. I've mentioned this before several times. Jasper Ford did a series of books called the 30 Next books. Basically, they are set quite literally in the within the pages of books. The first one's called The Air Affair because it's set within the pages of Jane Eyre. But it's very cleverly done. But there's a thing in there where they talk about readers affecting what they read. There's a line in there where the real, as in the books, Harry Potter, he's getting pissed off because he's becoming more and more look like Daniel Radcliffe. because when people read the books, their picture is what they've seen on screen. Their picture of Harry Potter is Daniel Radcliffe.
Someone's got a motorcycle outside. I got off the phone. One did say about Jane Eyre. One was my favourite book.
Just before Thursday next books, Kel. The first one is set within the pages of Jane Eyre. It's very cleverly done. It's the interesting idea is that she can actually enter the land of fiction. It's a very clever idea. And it's literally it kind of takes places between literally in the pages of the books. So when the idea is almost that it's the reader's attention is over in this room, so the action in this particular book is taking place where there are no reader's eyes on it. It's almost sort of. I mean, the way it's done is almost saying that okay, look, actually, when you're reading a book, or that the book is actually real, it's happening. You're looking into another universe, but only in that part of the universe. That's kind of. Fair enough. I mean, I did enjoy them, but I suppose the thing is, I've never read Jane Eyre, so it's possibly I mean, it might be a different one if they were setting something in Starship Troopers, for example. Although, having said that, Heinlein's towards the end of his life, Heinlein got a little bit weird.
Next time, I'm going to stick on a Heimlich alert.
Oh, you should always do a Heinlein alert for me, because nearly anything can come back to Heinlein.
Yes, we know.
Right? Nearly anything can come back.
You already talked about that ages ago, didn't you?
Yeah, probably several times, depending upon what, because he was such one. But The Land with the Beast, an extremely very thick book, one of his last ones. But they had kind of have technology that goes sideways into, and they literally flip into fictional universes. So, for example, there's one bit where they spend quite a bit of time in a certain magical kingdom with a 2-letter name, which is also a nickname for Australia.
What come from the land down under?
Close.
Oz.
No, yep, they come from land over the rainbow. Literally. To the point where it's great, because they say, I mean, he even manages to include some of the odd tropes. Like there's a line, for example, saying where one of the female characters is pregnant, and Glinda, I think it is, says, "Well, look, you know your child will never be born while you're in Oz, because there are no children born in Oz, because it wasn't written into this sort of thing." But it's another one. He turns up and he ends up in the Lensman universe, and which is interesting. But then it gets weird, because he ends up ending up in other Heinlein universes, and it's weird, but in places it's seriously weird.
Well, that was book history with Colin.
It's interesting. I see what Kelly was saying about Bond. Again, Bronte and Oscar, I've never read. They've never appealed to me. They've never appealed to me personally, but then there's a lot of books I've never read.
The reason why I read Wuthering Heights was thanks to Kate Bush done a song about it.
Well, yeah. Yes, I remember Wuthering Heights, and I'm sure several people did mistakes of it, including I'm kind of feeling Kenny Everett did. I'm not sure.
Dave Allen did.
Take of it, Dave Allen.
Dave Allen
did. Yeah,
in the mud yesterday when we watched that clip, didn't we?
Yeah. And she goes on waxing for getting her dress all dirty. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. The thing is, I cannot stand romantic novels now and again. Like, I like Wuthering Heights, but it's saying I've mentioned it ages ago on Roman Stream. I can't remember. Well, I think it was what was the one with Mr. Darcy? I'm trying to remember.
Oh,
that's the one I hated, I think.
Isn't that the one they kind of pastiche in
yeah.
Oh, the Peter Davison one. Where they're in the 1920s, they've got the guy, or is it not?
Pride and Prejudice, yes, that's the one.
Zombies,
bloody sound. Yeah,
without zombies. Yeah, because I'm sure because where this the wife is not really dead or something.
Sensibility.
Sense and Sensibility with sea monsters. I've not read that one. Pride and Prejudice with zombies I've seen, but I don't think they filmed Sense and Sensibility with sea monsters.
Yeah, I'd rather watch the OD, didn't I?
I quite like the Oneiden line, but not necessarily for the. It's like I quite liked North and South, the American version.
I agree, Melvin. Hail to you.
Yeah. No, they was. I mean, they were quite. I mean, I remember there's because. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've probably watched the Oneiden line when it was on, when it was first on. I sort of remember it. But I tell you what, it kind of existed because it was before 2010. I'm sure there were some really strong female characters in that. I'm sure some of the characters, the women were really.
She's
really...
never gonna let it down, is she?
No.
One quotation, and she's never
actually no. That was not a Jennifer Lawrence character, because Jennifer Lawrence has played all the action female leads. I mean, I wouldn't have called the females in the Oneiden line action characters. No, it's just crap about never been, females in lead in strong roles before. Ooh.
Why are we talking romantic novels and how brought the Oneiden?
I don't really know.
The only thing I know about the Oneiden line is the opening music, and because I was listening to the radio one night and washing up because I put it on Classic FM and that came on, and my mother turned around and said, "Oh, it's the Oneiden line," and went, "Really? I thought it was this."
No, it was. I think that's age of. I mean, again, some there where, all practical effects. I mean, they're great sailing ships and the rest of it. The 3 or 4 masters and the rest of it. They were real sets.
Yeah, because Peter Gilmore, I swear he was going to say, "Look lively." They're playing the theme tune, so make sure.
He was in Carry On movies, wasn't he?
He was in a few Carry On movies. He was in Warlords of Atlantis.
Oh God, I've forgotten that. Bloody hell, yes.
Yeah, that is a good film. And there's a Thunderbirds connection there. Shane Rimmer. Yeah, Peter Gilmore done a, but the famous line he came out with was where Barbara Winter walks up to him and goes, "Ooh, what a lovely pair," and he goes, "You took the words right out of my mouth." You carry on, Doctor.
Yeah. The thing is, there's a number. I mean, I don't know why these days. Actually, I think I do know why. There seems to be so little really interesting. Actually, 2010, a Jane. Oh, I see what you're saying, Echo. Jane Austen Odyssey. No, so I thought you've done a 2010 Jane Austen crossover. I was going to say, wow, that's an interesting idea. Jane Austen, A Space Odyssey.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Jane Austen in space. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, I wonder how many times Pride and Prejudice has been filmed and refilmed, either in the original or in
the reason why I hate Pride and Bloody Prejudice is because I had to watch it. Well, we only had one TV in the house. Well, we had 2 TVs, but the other one was black and white and it was crap. And the thing is, sitting down on a Sunday night and you're bored out your brains because your mother's watching that.
Okay, so
Kelly, here we go. Extra 2 hours.
No, I've got one question. I think we've had this before, and I'm still not certain. Are you talking? Because you said the thing is, there is a North and South by Gaskell. I want to say is
up East and West.
An English novel of that. I think of that sort of genre, but it's also a trilogy in the American Civil War by American author John Jakes, and the American Civil War is the one I've seen and liked. So there's two north and souths, if you like. The American one had Patrick Swayze, amongst others, in it. Reasonably early in her career, Kirstie Alley.
I'll still miss Patrick Swayze.
I've forgotten John James.
I'll be back in a second, folks. I'm just going to get a cookie.
No, it was. I don't, but yeah. So, okay. No, sorry. I'm reading back that down again, following it through. I see you're obviously talking about the Gaskell version, North and South. Yeah. Sorry, I was catching up on the chat there. He was. You must be right. Lytton wasn't in Eating Line. He was also in Gangsters. Maurice Colborne was also in Gangsters. In fact, he was possibly one of the most brutal scenes in kids' TV in Doctor Who, as well, Lytton, where they literally crush his hand and you actually see blood coming out. Oh, do you know, I hadn't realised they'd actually filmed the Gaskell version of North and South, or the Gaskells North and South. I was watching something earlier on today, and apparently Patrick Stewart was also considered for a famous part. I cannot for the life of me remember what it was, but it was somewhere quite famous, quite well known. And that Patrick Stewart didn't take the part of. He was off. Someone else took it, but I really can't remember what it was. But it's like, I mean, I must admit, you know, you've got Captain Picard setting off the atomics in June. You know.
Oh yeah, have you seen the June trailer yet?
I haven't seen the trailer for part 2, no, but that's because I intend to watch the film anyway. Not necessarily cinema. I might wait till later on, but I quite enjoyed.
Quite good.
I must admit, I've actually seen and enjoyed all of the versions of June.
Yeah.
They've all got their strengths. They've all got their weaknesses. So they've all got. I mean, I've even got the DVD of the not the director's cut, obviously, because that was that would have taken about 3 days, but the long version of David Lynch's Dune, which has got about a 10-minute introduction. But I think they've all. I said I did like this last version. Some of it, I thought, okay, we're a bit. I didn't necessarily take to, but others I did.
Well, shall we start wrapping up, Colin?
Yeah, we can do.
Because I think you're running out of things to say. Okay, right.
Things to say, just relevant things to say.
Well, as we haven't got any guests on the show tonight, we can't go around the panel and say what you got coming up. We will be back at the end of this month, because it is the 1st of May, isn't it? It's May Day.
I have.
Have you?
Friday.
Yes, go
PJ
ahead.
and I are going to be crusading and castling again.
Hey.
So 11 o'clock UK time, whatever that is in the fake time on the other side of the pond. PJ and I will be on Tabletop Junkies channel again, hoping to survive the keep and the I've got a
Keep it
feeling
away.
we're going to be doing a bit of fighting. Yeah, no, I've got a feeling we're going to do quite a bit of fighting here.
And you'll be on Saturday, won't you, for Let's Talk Geeky?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a break still. So, okay.
I don't know if the father's going to. I don't know if the father's on. If the father's on Friday and he's putting out invites, so I might be on there as well. But we'll see.
Well, can I hear music, Colin?
I don't know. Can you? Oh yes, now I can.
Right. So it's me and Colin tonight. Sorry about this, but it's just like another what do you call it show again, wasn't it? Monday night with FFSI.
I have to move the earphones when I get deaf and then the music goes up.
Oh yes. Well, anyhow, everybody, we'll be back at the end of this month with Monkey Magic on Bank Holiday Monday, and also
we will be irrepressible.
And then the following week we've got Monday night with me and Colin again, talking Codswallop. So everybody out there,
You can wallop any cod you like, and it's good night from him.
Take care, everybody, and see you next bank holiday.
Bank holiday after next, I think.